poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. Because at least as a rich...
Welcome everybody to our new channel. After this very fun introduction, we will explain why behind the laugh of this video there is a serious truth hidden, which is that the GDP per capita actually affects the happiness of a country. So, what is gross domestic product? It is the market value of all finished goods and services produced within a country borders in a specific time period. If you take a look at this graph, you will see that the happiest country in the world are also the ones with the highest GDP per capita, and it's showed by the light blue label. Instead, if you take a look at the less happiest country in the world, are also the ones with the lowest GDP per capita. Also, there is a very strong correlation between the GDP per capita and life satisfaction. This is because GDP is not the perfect measure, but it is the best single measure, as it is the base for all the other components that affect our happiness. Countries with a high GDP per capita have higher level of happiness because they have higher access to education, to healthcare, social support, they have a higher ability to go on holiday, which are all measurements of happiness. Now, to testify this, we have sent some of our colleagues to Paris and Uganda.
Hello everyone, we're in France and here people are very smiley and happy and eat croissant for all day. And this is actually a consequence of the high GDP per capita existing in this country. Why? Because economic well-being can guarantee to France's citizens health, education and technological development. For example, we researched that the average life expectancy is more than 80 years old, and also 99% of people can read and write in this country. So these are just examples that actually show how economic well-being affects our everyday life.
Here in Uganda, the infant mortality rate is of 57.6 over 1,000 lives of children above 1 year old given every year. Also, speaking of the life expectancy here in Uganda, according to the World Health Rankings published in 2015, the total life expectancy in Uganda is 62.3 years. Speaking of how many people can either read or write in Uganda, children about the age of 15 and over can read and write for the 78.4% of the whole population, which is 85.3% of male and 71.5% of female. So, considering that there is a very high of immortality rate, and not many people can read either write, and the life expectancy is not that high, are we sure that this can lead to happiness?
Good morning, everyone. To conclude our discussion upon GDP and its impact on happiness, we can state that GDP does not measure some factors which contribute to an individual's happiness, such as, for example, the health of a country's children or the quality of their education. However, countries with a larger GDP will be able to afford better healthcare and better educational systems. This indicator, GDP, may not directly measure factors which make life valuable. Nevertheless, it does measure the competence to obtain the necessary things for a valuable life. Furthermore, we can support our point of view when introducing Abraham Maslow's theory of the hierarchy of needs. According to this diagram, which takes the shape of a pyramid, in order to reach the top needs and therefore fulfill happiness, you need to first achieve basic needs, which include food, warmth, shelter, health, and others. But how can we satisfy the factors positioned at the top of the pyramid if we can't satisfy the bottom ones first? And how can you achieve these basic needs with no money? Psychologist Layard has stated that shopping, meditating, eating, and other factors can affect an individual's GDP. GDP is not the only indicator of happiness we have, but it is for sure one which is able to give an overall view of people's life situations and their happiness. With a higher GDP, individuals can afford a better education, which enables them to read, write, embrace critical thinking, and finally have the possibility to acquire a job. And jobs is said to be a strong indicator of happiness in all countries, as it enables people to have an income and therefore being able to afford basic needs to achieve happiness. Thank you for listening.